Hey all, this is Stephanie with Energy Aligned, and this is the weekly Tarot Insight. Every week I've been pulling one card to harness and highlight the collective energy. So the card will describe and explain and kind of get into a little bit about what's going on in the bigger picture for all of us together out there. And then I give some tips and tools on how to actually harness the energy for your individual self and your individual life. And this has been really fun to watch how the numbers have been showing up. So the card that I pulled today is the 10 of Wind, and the last couple cards we've been pulling have been the 7, 8, and 9 of different suits is what we call them. The Wind is really about the mind and our thinking. And wow, when I pulled this card, I really was kind of blown away in a good way, and not really surprised. If you are sensitive at all to energy or read tarot, and even if you're not, it's pretty intense out there right now, and it's been fluctuating quite interestingly as far as how much energy is coming at you, much energy is getting put out from you. And you might have noticed that the collective has ebbed and flowed like that, like some real intensity, and then it kind of dies down. Then it gets really intense and it dies down. And what's going on in the collective is really a ramping up in a good way. And as you can see here, the 10 of Wind is how I see this card is, here we are at the 10, the end of a cycle, 1 through 10. We go through these cycles, and sometimes at the 10, we're ready to it's like a culmination of all that's happened in this cycle. And as a collective, we really are hitting up against the edge of change in so many ways, and we're getting fuller and fuller and fuller, and it will break and turn over into newness, and it already has in some ways. And here we are at the 10, and things are now going to be moving swiftly and with a lot more potency. So we see all these, looks like arrows hitting the mark. We've hit the mark. We've hit the mark in a collective way. We've come to an understanding, even if we're not all 100% acknowledging it, that we've hit the mark. We are all tired. We've all are moving on. We are all evolving on so many levels. And, things our attention, and this how I see the Wind, the mind, our attention has been directed for so long and scattered intentionally. And now what we're seeing is that, you can see up here like a bullseye. We're all as a collective starting to understand that we can direct our attention. We can choose where our attention goes. I see these 3 separate parts of the card as having a choice, and part of our choice is to have our attention scattered, and part of our choice can also be to to focus our attention very strongly in one direction. But as a collective, what's happening now is we're not choosing just to focus on one thing all the time. We have enough awareness and expansiveness as individuals and as a collective to go, oh, now I'm going to put my attention here. Now I'm going to put my attention here. And now we're all going to put our attention here with a lot of clarity and potency, integrity. And the word I'm looking for really is awareness, I guess. It's knowing that we have the power, basically. And this card is pretty cool to show us that we've hit up against that. And it doesn't mean that we're done with the cycle and it's going to turn over and be all butterflies and rainbows. It is challenging. It's challenging because we have to now decide what we're going to do, and it'll be kind of like a chaotic mess for a while. But the positive of it is that we have so much energy behind our awareness now as a collective. And I think that is brilliant and awesome and so cool to see in this card. How can we harness this energy for ourselves in our daily life? Be really, really aware of where your attention's going. And you could see it. The media is always a good marker for this kind of stuff, where you see something in your face with a lot of potency and a lot of strength, and it directs your attention, and then it kind of dies down and goes off to the side a little bit, and then it comes back. So it's directing your attention in towards it. And so how we can harness this for ourselves is just be aware of that. Be aware, oh yeah, I really was paying a lot of attention to that for a while, and now I'm not. Now I'm paying attention to this. Oh, now my attention's back here. And as soon as we start to create our awareness around that, where our attention is being directed by something else bigger than us, then we could start to direct our attention ourselves. Oh, I'm going to put that down for a while, or like, I see that there, yet I'm actually really focused on this right now. And then the other thing to be really cognizant of is to not beat yourself up of where your attention is going and isn't going. So for instance, there's a lot of horrid and horrible things happening in the world right now, and it is really hard. And do not beat yourself up for being in a place where you wake up and you need to have your attention be on something that you're creating in your life that's positive, or something that you're working on, or just getting up and taking care of yourself, your family, your animals, all the things, your community. And so that to me is really important point to say here, because it's really easy for all of us to be beating ourselves up for what's going on in the big wide world, when we also have to wake up and live our lives on a daily basis and drop into awareness and whatever form of spirituality you walk around with. The last thing I really want to say is it's time to take your power back. And I know this is a big thing to say, but that's really what's happening here. It's time for the collective to take their power back, but it's time for individuals to deepen into your awareness so that you can live your life in this global world that's only going to get more and more intricate and more entwined on a global scale every day. It's in our face every day, and it's in our face. And bringing in your own awareness about your daily life and what you're doing. And it doesn't have to be these grand gestures, but you're living. And to bring awareness to that, and peace and ease as much as you can. I'm super stoked for this card that we just pulled. It actually just brings so much in perspective of all the cards that I've pulled for the last few weeks, and it brings me a lot of joy actually to see that this is where everything is kind of shifting and moving, and we'll see what's for next week. And please comment or reach out to me if you have any questions about anything we've talked about, or want to know more about tarot or the work I do as an energetic intuitive reader. I have so much love and deep awareness for you all. Thanks. See you next week. Bye.